My dear friends, welcome to the Christmas Box Angel Memorial. My name's Richard Davis, and me and my wife Tamara have been asked to host this beautiful program today. Isn't this a beautiful statue? This statue was dedicated to all people that have lost little ones. And that's what we are here today, to try to gather comfort and love and joy and to help each other out in our loss. Back in 1999, Larry and Mickey Johnson lost a little grandchild, and they had read about the Christmas Box Angel, and they thought it would be appropriate to have one in Spanish Fork. And so this happened in July, and in a matter of 5 months they got enough donations and money to have this statue built here in Spanish Fork. Isn't that amazing? 5 months, and they had the first dedication, and it always happens on December 6th at 7 o'clock. It's a joy for me to be here today and to dedicate my life to trying to help other people, and I think we have a wonderful program today. We will start our program by having a good friend of mine, Spanish Fork City Councilman Rod Dart, say a prayer.
Our Father in heaven, we bow before Thee this evening on this special occasion and give Thee thanks for all the blessings that we have and enjoy. We're especially thankful for Thy Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ, and His atoning sacrifice. We're also grateful for the knowledge that we have of the plan of salvation and for the hope and peace and comfort that knowledge gives us. We're also thankful for this hallowed ground that we're able to come here to this special part of the cemetery and pay homage to our young ones who have gone before us. We're thankful for the organizers of this program and for the dedication and love that they have for this program. We ask Thee now to bless the proceedings of this program, that we may feel of that comfort and love and peace. And I say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Rod, for that beautiful prayer. Our musical number tonight is performed by one of our local artists here and one of my friends, Ron Hansen, and I'll let him introduce his program tonight.
Good evening. I'm also my own sound technician, so pardon me if I have to run back and forth between the microphone and the sound system. I'll be singing a song called My Shepherd Will Supply My Need. It was written by Isaac Watts in 1719. Mr. Watts wrote upwards of 20 hymns, 10 of which are in the LDS hymn book that is being used today. One of them is Joy to the World, in addition to this hymn. He was inspired to write the lyric to this song as he read the following passage in the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for His name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for Thou art with me. Thy rod and Thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Then later, in 1863, William Bradbury from New York, he was a prolific music educator and composer. He read the lyric that I just to this song, My Shepherd Will Supply My Need, and he wrote the music for it. His name is William B. Bradbury, and he has 4 hymns in the LDS hymn book that we use today. My shepherd will supply my need. Jehovah is his name. In pastures fresh he makes me feed beside the living stream. He brings my wandering spirit back when I forsake his ways. He leads me for his mercy's sake in paths of truth and grace. When I walk through the shades of death, thy presence is my stay. One word of his supporting grace drives all my fears away. His hand inside of all my foes does still my table spread. My cup with blessings overflows. His oil anoints my head. The sure provisions of my God attend me all my days. Oh, may thine house be my abode, and all my work be praised. There would I find a settled rest, while others come and go. No more a stranger, but a guest, but like a child from home. No more a stranger or a guest, but like a child at home.
Thank you, Ron. That was beautiful. We have a wonderful speaker tonight. I'm very pleased to have Char here. Char Burton has called Payson her home for 24 years. She is originally from Salt Lake City. Char lost her beautiful son Jordan to suicide 14 years ago, although it seems like yesterday. He was 18 years old. She started the Heart and Soul Suicide Support Group for suicide survivals 13 years ago. Just recently, she started a support group at Camp Williams for suicide survivals of our servicemen's families who lost their soldiers or airmen to suicide. Starting in January, another charter of the Heart and Soul Suicide Group will be started at the Payson, Utah, at the Mountain View Hospital. She is also a chaplain and works at Timpanogos Hospital. She is proud. She is a proud mother of 3 children: Jordan, Judson, Burton, Angela of Spanish Fork, and Lauren Gruwell, Joshua of Spanish Fork. She has 3 grandchildren and an incredible husband who she has been married for 34 years. He has been a great support for her endeavors to educate the general public on suicide prevention and help the grieving who have lost and loved ones to suicide. My dear friends, Char Burton.
I feel very blessed to be able to be here in Spanish Fork. I think you do everything so wonderful over here. I'm from Payson. I know there's a little bit of a rift between the 2 places, but you do it right. You have Costco and Chick-fil-A. What can I say? That's pretty good. And we need to follow suit. But I'm very well aware as I look around. I've been through this cemetery many times, as well as I have many other resting places, and whenever I see a grave that's decorated, I know that person is loved, and I know that I'm walking on hallowed grounds and sacred grounds. And it always leaves me really warm in the heart, but yet heartbroken that somebody has to go through this. But I love to see that they decorate their graves and that they're not forgotten. To my last statement, I'd like to speak a little bit about not being forgotten. As mothers and fathers who have lost children, my heart holds a special place for you. There truly are no words that can capture the grief and the despair that comes from such a loss. In my quiet moments, I've reflected and tried writing and discussing with others what loss, grief, despair, and so many other emotions tied to loss look like. I remember a friend of mine once saying to me, there are no words, and I took that as a personal challenge to sit down and write the words that describe what losing a child is like, and I couldn't come up with adequate words. They were just words, but not how my deepest part of my body and being felt. How do we describe them? I've come to the conclusion that it is just an emotion so deep within us that there are no human words to describe the pain and suffering that comes along with losing your child. Each of us have a story, a very different story perhaps of how we lost our loved one and how our child died. But I think that if we were all to share our stories with one another, no matter how old the child was, we would find very similar characteristics in our children. If I could, I'd like to just talk about my son Jordan for a minute. I'm going to start when he was very young. He was just a wonderful, delightful soul. He was 18 when he died, as Richard said. But when he was very young, he laughed a lot. He was very inquisitive about everything. He broke a lot of clocks of mine, taking them apart, trying to figure out how they worked, and he got in trouble for it too. But he just loved to see how things worked. Everything really intrigued him. He was thoughtful. He had this twinkle in his eyes that just shined. And as he grew older, that twinkle grew to be a little bit more mischievous, and I had to keep an eye on him a little bit more. But you could always feel his love and affection for you. I remember one time he came home in a rush when he was about 6 years old, and he said, "Mom, do you have 50 cents? And I said, "Yes." And he said, "I want to earn it. I don't want you to give it to me, but is there something I can do to earn it? But I can't earn it right now. I have to go somewhere, but I'll come back and earn it in about 10 minutes. And I said, "Okay." So I gave him 50 cents, and he returned within 10 minutes, and he had this big, beautiful pressed glass bowl that he gave to me from a yard sale. And he said, "When I looked at it, I thought of you, Mom, just really pretty and shiny." And he was just 6 years old, and that's how he always was, so thoughtful, so giving. He would write me little affectionate love letters when he was tiny. He would give me little flowers. He was just this beautiful young child, very, very bright, very, very smart. If there was anything having to do with bugs or snakes, he was right there all over it. I'm sure many of you have children like that now. Many times he would carry black widows out in the field so that they wouldn't bother anybody by our house, but it didn't matter that he was carrying a black widow out to the field. He was rather fearless, and he was quite the thrill seeker as well. One time when I went and picked him up from Salem Pond, he said, "Mom, wait a minute, I want you to see something." And he ran up on the bridge, and he stood on the top of the apex of that bridge and dove head in, and I about had a heart attack. I thought I was just going to go under, and he just came up loving it. He just thought it was great fun. So I know a little of what he did. I think if I knew everything he did, I might not be giving this talk here tonight. I could go on and on with these many gifts and passions that Jordan had, and the type of person that he was, and the many talents that he had. He loved music. He was a black belt. He got involved in life. He was never home. He never sat around. He always had to be doing something. But one thing that, these are just his characteristics, and I'm sure many of your children share many of these same characteristics. But of the hundreds, probably bordering over 1,000 people that I've talked to in the last 13 years who have lost loved ones and little children, or their fathers or their mothers or siblings to death, the one common core that I find that there's this thread that runs through people that are unlike a person that just is more like me, trying to learn how to acquire these different traits. I call these angelic soulful traits. They're loving. These children come with this automatic ability to love, to forgive. They would give you their last dime if they had it. They'd give you whatever they had if they knew that it made you feel more comfortable and loved. They would write notes. I'm sure many of you can recall notes that your children wrote to you, or little loving things they did, no matter how old they were. If they were 1 or 2, you knew for them it was something. Whether they laid their head on their shoulder, tried to give you a little kiss, look in your eyes, you knew that there was something special about that child. As I suggested, no matter the age that we lose our angels, the eyes are the windows to the soul. For those babies that maybe only lived for an hour, for a day, for 2 days, I can't imagine how difficult that would be. I always say I can't imagine how difficult it would be to lose a child that's 6, 8, 10 years old. I don't know how a mother does that. Even though I lost one at 18, I still think there's something so difficult about losing a child that I can't quite comprehend that. But if you were to look in the eyes of a child that's just days old, just a baby, you could look in those eyes and see wisdom. You could see something that you'd say, that child's smart. That child's looking through me. That's one of those angelic, divine souls that you were able to have in your home as your own. I have no doubt that if you reminisce and see the extraordinary soul that your child has, that he would have possessed an extraordinary soul. Though we've been through something very horrible, we have something very great on our side, and that is hope. Hope for a more peaceful and loving days ahead. I know that after Jordan died, I started to do a lot of outreach work in suicide and suicide prevention. And I did this not so that I could get a name for myself by any means, but it was because I was lonely. I didn't have anybody to talk to. And I wanted to reach out and find somebody that had been through what I'd been through so that I could be able to understand if what I was feeling was normal, if these deep emotions would ever go away. But I always feel this way. And I feel very blessed to have had many, many people come through our support group and be able to find healing because I was able to share that experience I've been through with another person. There's no way to put a pretty face on death of a child. But together, one by one, we can be of support to one another. It takes courage to make a call to another person that you know has lost a child, but chances are that that person is feeling the same way that you are feeling. Many have excellent support groups. They have families. They have great friends. They have loving neighbors, a great support system in their faith-based religion, whatever that may be. But then there's others that have no support system. But once that funeral's over and done with, that's it. They don't have anybody knock on their door to see if they're okay. Those are the ones that you need to keep an eye open for and reach out to and love and give them hope that they too can overcome this in time. You'll never get better. I still have my days where I just fall apart and cry and just say, I miss him. Even though it's been 14 years, I just miss my son. I don't ever want him to be one of those that is forgotten and not spoken about or talked about. So I'm very thankful for the support group. It gives me an opportunity to do that. If you need a support group, talk to me after. There's all kinds of support groups for all types of deaths that might, if you feel like you are alone or struggling, let me know and maybe I can help you find some place where you can go and talk about that death so you don't feel so alone and so anxious about that grief that you're going through. If I can, I want to read a little. It's taken from the Caravan of No Despair. And it talks about mothers, but I want to add fathers to this too. But I didn't know how to make it rhyme, and it's not mine to change. But no, I'm thinking of you fathers as well. It says, quote, "Even as I rocked on my knees, howling, I detected soft breathing behind the roaring. I leaned in and listened. It was the murmuring of 10 million mothers, backwards and forward in time and right now, who had lost children. They were lifting me, holding me. They had me woven in a net of their broken hearts, and they were keeping me safe there. I realized that one day I would take my rightful place as a link in this web, and I would hold my sister mothers when their child died. But for now, it was my only task was to grieve and to be cradled in their love." In closing, I would just like to say that on this special occasion, that I hope that you can remember your child as an angelic soul and know that they maybe were, I really feel, sometimes too good for this earth, and that you're very blessed to be able to say that you have your own angel that watches over you, guards you, loves you, and in times of need is probably right there holding you. If only we could take time to stop and feel. They are our master teachers. If we could gain some of their attributes that they had, such as love, non-judgmental of other people, unconditional love, being good to others, giving people those things that we may not have, but give it to them anyway, find ways to comfort other people, then we could be more like our children that were taken from us, far too young. I hope that we can become more like them. I hate to see anybody suffer during this time of year. It's a very difficult time of year. And I've decided in 2006, my gift to my son is going to be, I'm going to be a little bit more mischievous in a good way. I want my eyes to twinkle more. I want people to wonder what I've been up to a little bit more, even though I don't do anything really exciting to be bad or anything. But just I want to twinkle and shine like he did a little bit more. And that as he showed me a way in life to be, that I can be maybe that person if I tried, because it doesn't come natural to me like it did to him. I feel very blessed that he was my son. I love him very much. I'm so sorry for all of your losses. I'm sorry that you're here. But I feel that you're at the place where you should be, that you can celebrate the life of your child, that he was here, and that they continue to live. And I wish you a Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Charn. That was wonderful. Thank you for letting all of us be able to pull from your strength, because we all need her strength. We need to help each other.
Right up there, Richard.
Okay. We're now going to have the lighting of the candles and a moment of silence. If anybody hasn't got a candle or a carnation, they can come right up here. Raise their hands, and my 7th Ward girls can get them a candle. Girls, if you can start helping people light, and after that we'll have a moment of silence. There's some people I'd like to thank at this time. I truly want to thank Charn for coming here and talking, and Ron for his musical talents, for Rod Dart for the opening prayer. I'd like to thank the Spanish Fork City for setting up the tables and the music, the sextons for the care of this beautiful statue that we have behind us, and taking care of this wonderful cemetery that we have. I'd also like to thank Carrie Hanks with Carrie Floral and Design for donating the flowers that we have today. Also, my 7th Ward young women for all the work that they do for me. They're here every year. They support me every year, and I appreciate all that they do. Also, all those that support us every year, that come here every year. You need to make this a tradition. This is wonderful, and this is where we pull our strength and our love and hope from this beautiful statue that we have here. I can't tell you how many times I come here. My lost one, her monument is just over here to the west of us. And when I come and visit her monument, I come over here and pull strength from this. And that's what this statue was built for, is for us to come here to honor our little ones, to pull strength from them and feel their love. We will now have Ron come and lead us in 3 verses of Silent Night.
It's been an honor to be with you this evening. Some of you may not know all 3 verses, so just get close to your neighbor and follow along. And I'm going to start us. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright. Round your virgin mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Silent night, holy night, shepherds quake at the sight, glory stream from heaven afar, heavenly hosts sing hallelujah. Christ the Savior is born. Christ the Savior is born. Silent night, holy night, Son of God, loves your light. Radiant beams from thy holy face, with the dawn of redeeming grace. Jesus, Lord, at thy birth,
My dear friends, that concludes our program tonight. I do want to say a couple of words before we leave. I want you to know there's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't think of my little lost one. She's always in my prayers. She's always in my thoughts. I want to promise you that our little ones are safe and that they're happy. And I know that it hurts and we want to hold them and hug them and love them. But I want you to know that time heals a lot of wounds. And I promise you that one day we will be with them again. Don't forget to tell your families that you love them every day. Please don't forget to tell your families. Your families are the most important assets that you have, and continue to hug them and tell them that you love them, because you do not know what's going to happen from day to day. May God bless each and every one of us with joy and happiness and comfort in this holiday season. Pull joy from each other. Thank you.